What is up and welcome back to my channel. I'm just gonna sit down and show you guys like my go-to makeup look. This is my go-to look for when I know no matter what this is going to look great on me. I don't really have to put any thought into it. Thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe because I would love to have you join my little corner here on YouTube. And let's go ahead and get started. Also, there are storm clouds outside, so the lighting may be a little bit dark, but we're gonna kind of work with it. For my base makeup, kind of changes depending on the day, but I'm gonna go in first with this Hard Candy Hydrating Primer. Like, it's sticky, it's ready. I'm gonna go in with my L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear foundation, and I'm using the shade 411 Beige Ivory. Shade on this also depends. I'm not gonna bother with brushes today, so I'm just gonna use my sponge, that from the back of my hand, work it onto the sponge and then onto the face. And with using a sponge, I do have to pump more foundation on the back of my hands. The two concealers that I have been using so much lately. It's the Neutrogena Radiant Cream Concealer. I use two different shades. I use the Ivory Light shade, and then this is a Crew Light 2. A Crew, this is kind of closer to my skin tone, so this is what I use for like if I have blemishes. I have like a little guard there on my cheek. For like blemishes and stuff, I don't like using a sponge because it's a sponge, it soaks up a lot of the product. I'm just gonna use my finger, and I still feel like it didn't do anything. I am the worst when it comes to covering up blemishes. The key is just like blending around the area and not so much on the area itself. To take it and go down the nose, not so much under the eye, because it's still going to get blended under the eye. But I found that when I put too much product to begin with underneath my eye, I get a lot of creasing. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to take the lighter shade. This is going to kind of help brighten. And I'm just going to take that and just going to put that right there. What I normally do, which I'm not going to do today because I already told you guys I don't want to be bothered with makeup brushes. I like to use a brush and kind of disperse the product out, because when you go straight with it, again, going back to what I said before, which you're probably saying to yourself, then why are you using a sponge? To distribute the product first, and then I just use kind of my sponge to blend things out. But today we're just going to go full blending mode with the blender. I kind of like to kind of go down the center of the nose and kind of under the eye a little bit. Like, as you can see, like the product, it's blended out pretty well, but it's not right underneath the eye. Then I will go and I will kind of take this product. I'll kind of go over the eyes too. I also find that I want more of the coverage and like the highlighting like right here by my nose versus right under my eye. I just feel like it looks even more flawless that way, because again, like I don't have tons of product right up under my eye where all those fine lines are. See how like bright my under eyes are now, but it doesn't look heavy underneath my eyes. And then when I go in with powder later, it's not going to look heavy under my eyes, because I hate when I put powder under my eyes and it just looks dry and cakey just because of all my fine lines. Concealer is going to gather there no matter what. You might be able to minimize the creasing. The concealer needs somewhere to sit, right? There's tips and tricks to help prevent less creasing or no creasing whatsoever, but what I have found is that even if there is very minimal creasing, there's still creasing. At least in my experience, that's what I have found. I love that trick. I have really had to figure out what works best for me versus like watching other people and their tips and tricks when it comes to concealer, because they just don't work on me as well. Really just like focusing more on down the nose and in this area versus like right under the eye, and then just kind of lifting it from the outer. It's not new. I know people that do it this way, but the way that it's been explained to me, what? Now, really quickly, I am gonna go take the lighter shade and just kind of go right down the nose, forehead, and the chin. So I'm gonna go in with this Milani Liquid Contour. I'm using the shade Honey. Really dot, you see where that line is right there? I'm literally gonna dot right on top of that. Brush. I'm just going to go back and forth and blend it out. Blending it up though, because that's gonna lift the face rather than bring it down. You can see how like just it lifted my cheekbone right there. My sponge, and just blend the edges out. Alrighty, one thing that I don't do anymore is I don't contour my forehead anymore. I think that that's something that has just been normal to go in my routine, is to just like contour my whole entire face. Contouring is to create shadows on the face. You know, if you have a big forehead, you usually contour your forehead to make it appear smaller. I already have somewhat of a rounder face, and so when I do that, it just kind of shrinks it even more. And so I just leave my forehead alone. I found that I love the way that looks more. I'm going to maybe apply a little bit of contour here on the nose. Then I'm gonna apply it also here to lift the eyes. I have a feeling that my husband or somebody just called me, but I did not know what they said. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's starting to rain. I'm going to kind of bring this up. As always, I just go in with my sponge just to blend everything out, make sure everything is nice and blended. I feel like not contouring my forehead just looks better. I already have a somewhat small forehead, so I don't know why I ever thought to contour my forehead in the first place. It was just something that people did, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it too, and it looks so much better without it being contoured. However, I do bronze, so we're going to move on now. One product that I have found works super well for setting my under eyes is this right here. It's the No7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Finishing Powder. I have heard is a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury, can I ever say that? Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter Press Powder. I have never tried that powder before, so I can only go off of what other people are saying. Then I'm gonna take my Beauty Blender puff, and I'm just gonna go right underneath. Not like right underneath, because again, I want to kind of avoid those fine lines. But I kind of bring it down the nose, kind of across. You can see how like smooth and almost airbrushed it is versus this side. Now I'm gonna go in with my HudaBeauty Sugar Cookie Easy Bake Loose Setting Powder just to set the rest of my face. All right, one product for me that I just feel like was worth every single penny is this Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked Elephant Palette. I have wanted an Hourglass palette for forever, and every holiday they come out with like a limited edition one. Anyway, this last year was their limited edition one. I knew I had to have it, so I bought it because I was like, no one else is gonna buy it for me, even though I asked. So I bought this for myself, and I absolutely love it. It is a bronzer shade. You have two blush shades, and then this are like highlighter shades, but you can use this all over the face for like everything, like eyeshadow, things like that. But I'm gonna go in with this as my bronzer, and these are baked formulas, which means they're gonna have a little bit of ow, I just pinched my finger. They're gonna have a little bit more of a luminous finish to them and not be quite matte. They're very pigmented. I'm just going to warm up the face with this, and then like I said, is that I do bronze my forehead, which I feel is essential. And you can see how that just like adds more of like a glow, not necessarily a shadow that kind of shrinks my forehead. And then I am gonna go and kind of blend on the neck to make sure to kind of get around my neck a little bit, especially if you're wearing your hair up. You want to make sure to do this. And then I do use this palette as well to do my blush, and so I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna mix the two shades. Again, very pigmented, so be very careful. I kind of try to stay on the top of my cheek more than rather coming right in here, because then I feel like I could bring it in too far. So I'm just going to kind of keep it up more. And so bringing it up more kind of creates a more youthful look and kind of pulls your cheeks up. But sometimes it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I don't really pay attention and it ends up being down here more. All right, moving on to the eyes. Now the eyes are something that I stick with the same colors, but it always changes on what product I'm using. Sometimes I'll use my Anastasia Nouveau palette, and I only stick with 3 different colors. So I don't like use whatever color in this palette that I want. Like I stick with the same colors. Sometimes I have like a ColourPop palette, the child palette from The Mandalorian. Sometimes I use that palette. It has the same kind of green tones, things like that. Sometimes I just wing it with the products that I've already used on my makeup. Today I'm just gonna go in with this E.L.F No Budge Matte shadow stick in the shade Thrift Shop. This is just going to be as my transition shade. Blend out so incredibly easy, and I really liked like this taupey camel color. I think that it's really flattering on me especially, but I feel like it can be flattering on a lot of people. Bring it down, kind of create that shape that I want. Boom. And it was that easy. Like, it was already blended out, but then I was just kind of being a little bit more picky with the shape that I want. But I just love the shade of it. I feel like it's not too crazy, but I feel like just the tone of it, I feel it's just a very flattering on my skin tone at least. And then I'm just being a little bit more picky with the shape that I want. Like, I really wanted to lift my eyes. I'm just gonna go into this palette and I'm just gonna use my bronzer shade. Like, sometimes, like, if I use this palette, I'll go in very lightly into this color, but I feel like sometimes that's like too dark for what I want. So I'm just gonna take this more flat brush and go into the bronzer. Again, very pigmented, so be very careful. This is what I do, is I just drag this down and then I kind of bring it in to kind of create a little bit of shape. And I'm just gonna like build it up until I have the intensity that I want it to be. Somebody who's not super good with applying their eyeshadow, just taking your brush and starting from like the top and just bringing it down, and then you can even just go in with the first brush that you did to just kind of blend it in. It's gonna just help you really create that shape that you want. And then at this point, I will go into either of the palettes that I mentioned earlier. I have this in front of me. I'm gonna go in with this palette, take this shade right here, just literally put this on my lid. Thing about these colors together that I feel like really just complement my eye color. I'm gonna go back into this shade really quick from E.L.F. I use this to kind of line the lower lash line a little bit. The other side of this brush, and I'm just going to blend it out. Or something that I do no matter what makeup look I'm doing is I put eyeliner in my waterline. Right, now I'm gonna take this like olive green liner. Not gonna be too precise because I'm just gonna go in and like buff it out a little bit, but I'm gonna put this on the upper lash line, focusing it on the outer. Just kind of blend it out. Alright, I'm gonna quickly just like throw some mascara on and do my eyebrows really quick, and then I'll be back. Alright, mascara and eyebrows are done. If you want to know what I use these two products, both from Benefit, the Bed Gelbing mascara and then the brow pomade. For lips, I'm going to go in with this LA Girl Ultimate Intense Stay Auto Lip Liner and keep it spicy. I was looking for my Jaclyn Hill Caramel Latte lip liner because that's the one that I love to use, but I couldn't find it, so this is the one we're going to use. I'm going to use my finger to blend it out. Then I'm going to go in with this Maybelline Vinyl lipstick in the shade Cheeky. You have to shake it before you use it. Lighter than the lip liner, which is what I'm looking for. And then you can see that I have a slightly like deeper outline of my lips, which I just feel looks really good. My go-to for just when I really want to look really pretty and not really have to think about my makeup and really just define features that I love about myself. I love doing this lip trick and using a darker lip liner and then a lighter lipstick or liquid lipstick on top of it without it being like too crazy and I don't have to wear a crazy lip color. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did and subscribe if you're not. And if you want to be notified of future videos that I upload, make sure to ring the bell and then you'll get a notification every time. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!